go quickly. With Fat Lab is this artist group I'm part of, and it's mostly a blog online. We release projects all around copyright, open source, pop culture. There's a there's this whole philosophy by Evan Roth, a good friend. He talks like about the sweet spot in between pop culture and open source. Open source is often like, it's very important, but it's also very dry. It's very like not sexy, and like with the idea to make these things more sexy and understandable for people with these often short, often web-based projects. And we did gonna show this fake Google project, fake Google car project we did in 2010. There was like we're invited to the Transmediale Festival and had a lab set up there, and we're doing all sorts of projects around Google and about this question, how big this company becomes and what they're collecting information about everyone, and how can it be that only like this company is responsible to shareholder and boards and not to public interest. And let's see, it should be here. And also in this very year, people, the Google car was out there and was scanning, taking pictures of the whole world, scanning the cities. And we built this fake Google car with a camera setup which was not working, was just a mock-up, like just empty plastic tube. But as long as you have a big Google sticker on your car, you look very legit with this, and it was quite surprising. So all kinds of weird things happen to the Google car. Things which Google wouldn't like to see happen. So Google driver gets lost, doesn't know its way. I asked him like how to get to Munich. Yeah, the Chinese embassy, like this China topic was very big. Of course, as usual with tech, you have problems, right? It's like a breakdown in the middle of the crossroads. So we had this sort of semi-improvised. I mean, this was like, for example, this is us ourselves.
Hey, this is Google car.
But the guy like coming over the street, trying to intervene is real. So it's, and it was, just on the fly mostly. We had this tweet out, oh yeah, we found the Google car and we're tracking it with a GPS device now, and so we were following ourselves through the city, demonstrating. Yeah, and there are like funny people in that car. Yeah, poor guy. Again. A brave citizen is intervening, which is good, in fact, but he was reaching into his pocket, right? And Evan was like, oh, it's a movie. Yeah, so this is like I think what I also like about it, or just the fact that it's very hard to explain people what a cookie in a browser is and how like information is collected while you search on Google. But there's this car and it takes pictures of the whole city and of my house and my neighbor's house. And in Germany it was like a super big deal in 2010. Like some politicians picked this up and they had huge problems to publish the whole Street View thing for Germany, and then people were able to blur out their houses, etc. So, but just the fact there's this car going and it says Google on it, and oh yeah, it's really like, oh, it's real. Like, I mean, you try to call Google on a phone, right? I mean, it's this white page, and they're huge, and we're all using it. But at the same time, it's hard to get a grasp on it, and it's like this. Of course, it's a company, and it's not that hemispheric. But it's. I like the way there you have this physical interaction in the city with like such a big company. Okay, I think I'm gonna. Is there any? Well, we have 5 minutes for questions. We can also continue to show some more of the videos we had before. Maybe some more questions about the project on the hill.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you build all those crates?
Yeah, there's a very brave team here at Sporobole who made it possible to build all these crates. I'm very much in love with them. Like Eric took the key yesterday from me, and I had a bad dream tonight. So, but no, this is like really that this happened here in such a big scale, and just the fact how beautiful this courtyard kind of fits the idea of this closed space of a game map. It's for some reason, like we discussed this a lot yesterday night, or I'm talking about this big concrete dust map. Maybe it's just sections of it. I have to see how this develops over time. But somehow also right now it's like, oh yeah, this is even better. Like it doesn't need to be the exact shape, but at the same time, just have these elements and then combining them with like the stone texture wall and the lawn and all this is just perfect. So, but just as an outlook for the show in Kassel, I'm doing end of the month, end of August, it'll be launched. There's also one section of the dust map again, and it's just made from cardboard without the texture on it, so you don't need to put all the vinyl on there. And but it's just the shape, the exact shape, and it's going to be a space a bit like, yeah, almost as big as this, like 480 high, and it's like one of these gate situations we saw before in the movies. So it's like one of these gates is like 350 high and 2 meters deep, and there's some boxes around it, but all made from the same material, from brown cardboard. And yeah, that's like another angle to just have like a small section made from very temporary material. So it's gonna continue that around this topic. That's also what you said. What I think is very interesting. We had like some of the first visitors were also families, and I don't know if maybe from the neighborhood. It's like because this prison courtyard has some sort of attraction, and it's closed, and you can't get into it, and people are just curious about it. So it's this imaginary space, sort of, and now combined with the game, it kind of all these elements from the game. It creates like a really strong mix of like imaginary and at the same time, yeah, posing these questions. Yeah, it's often in these projects you have a certain audience who understands it or has the background to understand like this directly. But I like very much, as with like the name tags floating above the head, you're in the city, and then some people maybe go crazy because, oh my God, this is like from World of Warcraft. But then you have these discussions like right on the spot or on the street with people, and then you get into discussions on the street instead of like discussing this online. Like just the interaction with the audience. And for some reason, I mean, that's what I said yesterday. Also, like even if the Google Map marker is more well known. Like when I did this in 2006, it was like, yeah, maybe some people knew, but not that much. And here you can tell like something digital is going on because there's pixels. No, of course. I mean, for some reason, when I started these works in 2000, yeah, almost 10 years ago, the crate was like a very early piece. I often feel like, yeah, this has already. How do you say überholt? Like it's already passed by my work, right? It's like time-wise, it's like, yeah, no, it's already like these. That's what I said in between. Like my work is about that question, and somehow, well, I've been going to this Chaos Computer Club Congress for quite many years, and they've always been talking about security and like internet and And now suddenly all these topics are mainstream. Like there's like this guy in the airport in Russia, and it's like we find out that all this stuff is monitored, and it's like all these topics, or just the Arabic Springs and 2 years ago with like this whole use of Facebook and Twitter, and how like, so suddenly everybody gets like the point, yeah, that really these things have impact. Yeah, well, that's an interesting development. I mean, on one hand, when you look at like art market is still very conservative. I mean, it's not like, oh yeah, they're gonna buy now a lot of digital art, which is only online or on some drive. So I have a lot of friends who make only digital things, and then like unlike me, I talk about this, but I often have it's objects or interventions in these things. But there's big platforms like Artsy or Artnet who they become very strong now on the internet, but it's at the same time a classic art market. So they sell paintings on there. Yeah, it's like but there's no real like there's some attempts from different angles to create online platforms for digital art and to make them sellable and stuff. It's a long discussion. Like we discussed this. Right, right. Well, but this is also often the case with performance art or with like temporary work, that there's documentation. Is the documentation the work or not? Of course, here it adds an extra layer to like, because in the flat picture again like has a different meaning, but yeah, I often think with these interventions and it's sort of, it's funny that like my work is again then perceived through online mostly, or that's how, right? It's kind of the closing cycle.